Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/post. That's ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter.com/post.
At Kroger, we know the minute a tomato is picked, the fresh timer starts. The sooner we get our produce to you, the fresher it is. That's why we've shortened the time from harvest to home for our tasty tomatoes, strawberries, and salads. So no matter how you shop, you have more time with your fresh produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Welcome to the Fantasy Throwdown Podcast, bringing you the latest from the world of sports, DFS, and gambling. With over 5 years of hot takes and millions of downloads later, I guess he's been doing something right. Now, sit back and listen to one of the sharpest minds in the game. Here's your host, Dwayne Callender.
Philadelphia, Philadelphia, Philadelphia. How you feeling? Welcome to the show, everyone. We are coming off the heels of a Game 7 where I know a number of people felt confident Boston was going to win. I don't think anyone had Boston winning as convincingly as they did, following a complete and utter no-show by Joel Embiid and a not-so-surprising flame-out from James Harden. The Harden piece, not a shock. The Embiid side, there are a lot of folks, especially in the media, got a lot to answer for. Because for months, and even in the last 2 weeks, I got a lot of flack for calling people out when I said, point blank, Joel Embiid won the MVP because Embiid can't play the race card. And a lot of people didn't like what I said that. Because they started talking about, Jokic doesn't play defense. Jokic only stat pads. I heard stat padding a lot. Okay. Still didn't answer my question. What does Embiid do to elevate his teammates differently than other players in the league? Because I kept making that point because the MVP award is about most valuable player. Not most popular player or the guy you want to see win it or an achievement award. It's about valuable, contributing in other places. I want to read off some of the stats that we got from this game. Because to encapsulate how much of a cluster you-know-what this game was today, the Celtics were up over 20 in the fourth quarter. They extended their lead despite the fact that Embiid and the starters continued playing in the game until the last 5 minutes, and it was an over 30-point lead. But I want to read off some of these stats. P.J. Tucker started off with 11 points in the first quarter. He finished with 11, mainly because they never got him the ball again. The other 3 starters shot 50% from the field. Between Tobias Harris, Tucker, and Tyrese Maxey. They shot 50%. Now, defensively, the numbers look even worse because the Celtics just blew them out late in the game. I want to read off what we got out of Embiid and James Harden. Joel Embiid, 5 of 18, 4 turnovers. James Harden, 3 of 11, 5 turnovers. The rest of the team had 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers. 3. Embiid and Harden, 9 combined. Rest of the team, 3. I just want to be clear about this. 3. They had 12 turnovers total. They got blown out by over 20 points. The Celtics shot the lights out of the building. Yes, they were over 40% from the field. From 3. Embiid, 0 for 4 from 3. Harden, 1 for 5 from 3. Out of Embiid's 18 shots, 3 of them were actually inside the paint. He's a center. I said this before and I'll say it again. Where is it in the description of Embiid? Because most of what he has come up with still considers this to be a case where Embiid puts up numbers against subpar teams by going through the free throw line. Because Embiid's shooting career average is under 48%. Embiid relies on getting to the free throw line. It does not improve the other overall team. I'm going to say this again. Embiid, I've listened to folks try to defend Embiid up and down the block about why he deserved that MVP. Deserved it more than Giannis, deserved it more than Jokic, deserved it more than Tatum, deserved it more than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, deserved it more than De'Aaron Fox, deserved it more than Jalen Brunson. All these other dudes who played more games than Embiid did with teams that had lesser rosters than what the Sixers had. Had to listen to this entire year, this debacle. Okay. You've got Embiid in a Game 7. Put up 15 points with 1 assist and 4 turnovers. In Game 7. Game 7. 5 of 18, 1 assist, 4 turnovers. I'm just going to leave it right there. So, despite all of this, I want to play the sound clip of Joel Embiid post-match describing what happened with the team. I want to play this clip for the listeners. Listen up.
You can't win alone. I can't win alone. Me and James, we just can't win alone. You know, that's why basketball is played 5-on-5. So, we just need everybody to just, try to keep finding ways to get better, and, we'll be fine.
Everybody get better. And you could still say the full quote where he goes back through and says an unfinished job and that everyone's got to get better. Yeah, you can do the full context. But the fact that he still needs to insert it that I and James can't win alone is unnecessary. Because you were one of the biggest detriments to the freaking team all game long. You wouldn't pass the ball. You turned it over, and we're taking horrific shots. And you wouldn't get in the block. This is the other part that pisses me off more about this performance than anything else. You had 37-year-old Al Horford guarding you single coverage. The Celtics weren't even doubling Embiid today. Embiid chose to take himself out of the game by taking off-balance shots. He chose to go that route. He did not want to get in the block and go to work. Just saying. And, you can go back through and try to, like, oh, if this guy does this guy No. Look at the game itself and show me where Embiid is going into the block repeatedly, demanding the ball, and try to go to work in the paint. Especially when the Sixers were still up. Because it's not as though the Celtics blew them out in the entirety of the game. They were up in the first quarter because of P.J. Tucker. Second quarter, they were still up until the second half of the second quarter where Tatum started putting on them. And instead of, responding between Embiid and Harden, they insisted on keep chucking up shots instead of actually getting into the paint. They wouldn't go into the paint. It is beyond frustrating watching this team try to play. And then hear the apologists make excuses. Now, the Sixers fans are going off on Twitter now. Because now they're talking about trade Embiid. Because now they're speaking from an emotional place. These are the same guys who are campaigning for Embiid to win MVP and how we were all idiots for disparaging him, that he didn't deserve it this year, and this was his weakest campaign, even though it was the truth. I got disparaged quite a bit on the Embiid take and how his can't play the race card to get a sympathy vote for MVP. Because that's exactly what happened. That's just the reality of the situation. So, you had that flame out. You got that gem of a quote. And, again, I want to read off Embiid's playoff resume of the playoff series he did win in his career. 2018. These are the series Joel Embiid has won with the Sixers. 2018. Miami Heat, first round. The guys who led the minutes, the top minutes on the opposing side. Goran Dragic, Kelly Olynyk, J-Rich, Josh Richardson, and James Johnson. All right. Pistons in 3, as realistically it should be. 2019. Sixers in 3, as it should be. 2019. The Nets. D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Joe Harris. Sixers in 4. Because they had shifted into the, actually no, 5. They won in 5 games. Because they had shifted into the 7-game format. Now, 21. Because, by the way, in 20, they got clapped in the bubble in sweep fashion by the Boston Celtics ex-Kyrie. That was the famous Ben Simmons trying to throw the fish into the river and failing miserably, and then proceeding to get swept in the bubble. People always try to make the case that the bubble shouldn't count, but that was the beginning of the end of Ben Simmons with the Sixers. That series against Boston where they got completely blasted out of the playoffs. But anyway, 21. First round, Wizards. Poof. Oh, man, the Wizards. Man, this team. Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Rui Hachimura, Davis Bertans. Yeah. 22. Probably the most impressive win the Sixers ever had with Embiid in a playoff series. The Raptors, 22. Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, an injured Fred Van Fleet, but he still played, and Gary Trent Jr. That is literally the most impressive team that they actually beat in the postseason. Because this postseason, again, it's the Nets, Mikal Bridges, Spencer Dinwiddie, Cameron Johnson, and, I mean, basically, it was Dinwiddie, Mikal, Cam Johnson, and I want to say it was Joe Harris again. It was Joe Harris again on the Nets this year because they started shifting around the minutes. But like you could go Nick Claxton or Joe Harris in terms of minutes, but you get my point. Joel Embiid has not actually beaten a legitimate NBA playoff team in his entire career. Y'all gave him the MVP this year as a Lifetime Achievement Award. Those are the playoff teams he actually beat. He has lost to everyone else in his entire career. And this is the performance he turns in Game 7. I just want everyone to understand that for all the trust the process truthers out there, this group has made it as far as the Andre Iguodala, Drew Holiday 76ers teams of years gone by. That's how far they've made it. Because they still haven't made it into an Eastern Conference Finals. I want to say this again. The Sixers have not made it to the Eastern Conference Finals going back over 15 years. The Hawks of all teams, made the Eastern Conference Finals without Horford in 2015. Blew up the roster with Horford and Jeff Teague. Ended up with Trae Young. And Trae Young and the Hawks made it to the Eastern Conference Finals before the Sixers did with the Ben Simmons layup gate. Where he passed up the layup because he didn't want to get fouled. The Hawks made it twice in that time span. The Hawks, who we make fun of all the time, made it before trust the process. So, for all you trust the process defenders, I just want to be clear. With this 10 years, and you can make fun of the Knicks all you want, the Knicks never had the wealth of draft picks that the Sixers have had. They didn't have the trade partners to get the Hardens of the world that the Sixers have had. All you have to show for it are repeated images of Kawhi Leonard knocking you out in not even before you get to the conference finals. Because that still wasn't a lock. You never made it to the conference finals with Embiid. You've got multiple highlights of Embiid melting down in games. In case you forgot, you also had that lovely time with Brian Colangelo as your GM, basically getting fired because his wife was using a burner account to rat on the team externally. I hope you Sixers fans remember this as you talk about trusting the process. Because for all your campaigning for Embiid to win MVP, that is all you have to show for it. An MVP award that, quite frankly, everyone now mocks and is one of the most trending sentences you will see on Twitter this evening is trade that MVP back to Jokic or just forfeit it entirely. And I know there's a lot of copium that's going to go around with the Sixers fans of, well, if we went with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum instead of Simmons and Fultz, we'd have a dynasty. Everyone got woulda, shoulda, coulda. Y'all chose to build this team through Embiid. Your best option and the actual leader and your probably most successful team was the Jimmy Butler year where you lost to Kawhi in 19. And Jimmy was the third option on that team. But he was actually the leader of that team. And even he saw the writing on the wall when he knew that at the end of the day, Embiid and Simmons were never going to take this as seriously as he was ever going to. That's part of the reason why Jimmy left. The other reason why is Sixers management still thought it was a better idea to prioritize re-signing Tobias Harris than paying Jimmy Butler. Yeah, we remember this too, trust the process, folks. Y'all brought all this on yourself because you've been shoving it in our face for the better part of 10 years. Trust the process. Trust the process, they say. Now, I already got my pop's already been blowing me up, so we're going to put him on shortly because I can't wait to hear from him. But, Sixers fans, how you feeling? You still trusting the process? You still think Embiid's going to be the guy that leads you to a title? Okay. If you feel that way, I mean, hey, the world always needs people with hope. That's all I got. We'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere. The Fantasy Throwdown Podcast will be right back after our sponsors pay the bills.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/post. That's ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter.com/post.
The new Chevy Silverado HD puts you in command. Own strength with its enhanced available Duramax 6.6-liter turbo diesel V8. Own the lake with its available advanced towing technology. And own technology with an available 13.4-inch diagonal touchscreen. The new Chevy Silverado HD. Own work, own play, own life. Learn more at Chevy.com. Find new roads. Chevrolet.
Surgeons keep our hearts beating. They do the amazing. Help save lives. And so can you. Your CSL plasma donation can help create 24 critical life-saving medicines that can give Grandpa the chance for his heart to swell when he meets his new grandson, or give a bride the chance for her heart to skip a beat on her wedding day. Every plasma donation helps more than you know. Do the amazing. Help save lives. Donate today at your local CSL Plasma Center and be rewarded for your generosity.
Welcome back to the show. Hope you got your popcorn ready.
All right, so we are back with the 76ers ruining Mother's Day in the entire state of Pennsylvania by and large. My dad is coming in hot. He has a lot of thoughts about the game. And so we're just going to throw him on there and let him go because again, I know he's got a lot to say, and it ain't gonna be pretty. I know that much. All right, let's get right into it. All right, so Callie, this is I want, because I know you have thoughts on this too, but I want to play the exact quote from Embiid. I want to play this exact quote just so you can hear the words coming, the nonsense coming out of his mouth as he's saying.
It's going to take more than us. We all got to look at ourselves. I got to be better, and I will be better. That's what I'm focused on. All of us, we got to, come back and find ways to just keep improving and, help the team. You can't win alone. I can't win alone. Me and James, we just can't win alone. That's why basketball is played 5-on-5. So, we just need everybody to just, try to keep finding ways to get better, and, we'll be fine.
That was his quote after putting up 15 points and playing no defense. That was his quote.
Like I said, well, this game, I had already marked an L on it.
But Callie, this game was winnable. Like the problem with it's like we can talk. Look, I know you want to talk about Game 6, but Game 7 was winnable. PJ Tucker scores 11 points in the first quarter to at least give you a boost to start off the game. You're up 8 points in the second quarter. Go into the paint and start doing some work. This guy is out here trying to hit floaters. He's trying to hit the fadeaway jump shot. He's chucking up bad threes. Harden is dribbling the ball out of bounds. This game turned on its head in the second quarter, and it was as if they didn't even bother acknowledging that they needed to clean up some of the nonsense they did in the second quarter, because the third quarter just repeated everything that they did in the second quarter, and they got blitzed even harder in the third quarter because he and Harden insisted on taking some of the worst shots imaginable, and the rest of the team is standing around wondering, like, are we going to get the ball again? Because not only were they taking horrible shots, they weren't even passing. He had 15 points and 1 assist in a Game 7.
Yeah, those numbers are terrible.
I'm sorry for interrupting your point, Callie, because I know you want to get back into Game 6. So go back to what you wanted to say.
My problem is that you are home. This had no right to have a Game 7. You are home. The star player on the other team is having a nightmare game. I mean, it's the start of the fourth quarter. Jason Tatum has 3 points. That game's supposed to be out of reach.
Exactly.
No matter what he do in the fourth quarter, that game should have been out of reach. Have no right being that close. No right being that close with him, with that box score of 3 points, starting the fourth quarter. That game should have been gone. Done and dusted. Because in the back of your mind has to be, we don't want to go back to Boston. We don't want to go there for a Game 7. If you don't have that in the back of your mind, something is wrong with you. Then you deserve what happened today. It's ridiculous to tell me that Jason Tatum could turn it on in the fourth quarter and end up winning that game. That you let that game to be so close to be in doubt that if he so then you're telling me whenever he's ready to beat you, he can just turn it on and beat you. You're going to always have the game within reach. So then what's the point? That they never should have had a Game 7. Never should have had a Game 7. And if you're the MVP, you gotta know how to close games out at home. You tell the person, when you come into my building, That's it. You're not leaving. I'm closing you out. You know, this is my house. These guys, everybody.
But this is part of the problem, because the issue with the Embiid supporters keeps going back to the fact that they only look at the stat line. They keep trying to argue the stat line to justify he is not a leader. And you can never tell me that a guy who has such negative presence as a leader on a team could ever be the MVP. I'm sorry. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. Embiid has never been a true leader on that team. And you can go back through the years because, yeah, he had Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons took a lot of scapegoat, and he deserved a lot of blame for being a scapegoat on that team for some of the failures. But the best leader on that Sixers squad over this trust the process years, the best leader they had was Jimmy Butler. And Butler ditched it because, frankly, he looked at it like how bad that team was looking. Because he knew, as well as everyone else, that the team was only going to cater to Embiid and Simmons. So he left.
Yeah, he bailed on that. He bailed on them. Yeah, he did. You know. Look, let me tell you something. There's one thing I could tell you with Jimmy Butler. He may be a pain in the ass in the regular season, but if I'm looking for somebody to be in the foxhole with me come playoff time, give me Jimmy Butler. Because he is a beast when it comes to playoff time. You know. So, and like I tell you, I could bet you, if that's Jimmy Butler and Jason Tatum has 3 points at the end of the third quarter, you ain't coming back in that game. Because if he has to score 60, he's going to score 60. You know, you got to be able to close out people at home. You have to be able to, and you have to will your team to do it. They say, guys, we're not going back there. You know, and you get a gift with Tatum playing so lousy for 3 quarters. It's because you're telling me that if Tatum didn't play that bad, which means Boston probably blew you out at home. They probably blow you out in game 6. Because if he was playing so bad and you still let the game be within reach, what would happen if he was playing good all game? You know, it's ridiculous. You're at home. You gotta close that game out. Yeah. So he can talk about playing 5-on-5 and whatever. Hey, you're the leader. Yes, I know it's 5-on-5, but you know why guys like Jordan and LeBron and them get those accolades? Because they can say, jump on, guys, and carry all thing. And carry all over the line. Let's see you do that. You know, don't tell me about, well, we gotta play 5-on-5 or whatever. Yeah. Hey, Jokic just do that shit all the time.
Listen, again, I keep saying this. We get into this bad habit of just using the box score to justify every damn argument that we want to make a case from somebody and not actually look at the game itself. There were questionable character issues with Embiid going back years. You cannot tell me that out of all the people you could have said were MVP candidates this year, because it's not just Jokic. You still had Giannis. You still had Tatum, with the Celtics still being near the top of the Eastern Conference for the vast majority of the year, with the best record in the NBA for the vast majority of the year. You still had him. You had Brunson turning a Knicks squad that was awful into a semi-competent Eastern Conference contender for most of the year. You had De'Aaron Fox out west making the Kings relevant. You had other guys throughout the league doing things in spots where you didn't necessarily expect them to be relevant in the NBA this year. This argument that Embiid, he's long overdue to be the MVP. We got to give it to him. Like, it's still the most bullshit argument I've heard. Like, I'm sorry. Like, yes, he put up numbers. He put up, but it's nonsense. It's still nonsense.
Of course it's nonsense. Of course it's nonsense. Yeah. Because like I tell you, to me, in order to be MVP, you gotta be the guy who says, whenever the team is falling down, get on. I'll carry you guys over. That's what you gotta do. That's when you're an MVP. Yeah. And you see, look, I am, I don't like the if you have a legitimate argument for a minority guy getting it, fine. If you have a good argument, but don't just give me the argument that, well, it's because he's black. No. I'm not taking that. You gotta show me where this guy's numbers is way above, whatever, and what effect this guy thing has on the team. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to just hear the black guy argument. I ain't agree with that. And don't give me the other one that, well, he won it 2 years in a row. It ain't like they pick his name out of a hat and just say he wins it 2 years in a row.
But again,
let me tell you something. That Denver team have no right to be in no Western Conference final. Outside of him and oh my God,
Jamal Murray.
And Jamal Murray, who is on that damn team? How many players you can call over that team? Huh? You kidding me or what?
Because they're all role players. On that Denver team, they're all role players. Even Jamal Murray, as well as he's played in spurts, does anyone trust him to lead a team on his own for 82 games? No.
And it ain't like if the West is a cakewalk. It's not like the Western Conference is a cakewalk. And they keep being in the damn conference finals all the time. So they gotta be doing something, and he is the lead guy. Is he a great defender? No, but he does enough where you can't just be scoring on him at will. So to me, he elevates his team more than Embiid elevates his team, because as I see it, he is doing more with less than you. That's the way I look at it.
Yes, but
he's doing more with less. He's getting more out of his guys. When's the last time you make a conference final? Huh?
Oh, Embiid?
Yeah.
I thought you were trying to make a joke, Kelly. I actually thought you were trying to make a joke there. You do realize that Embiid has never made the conference finals.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. When's the last time you made a conference final? Because and like I said, you watch that Denver team. That team should not be making it there. But they do, because they do the little things, and he makes that team much better. He has them playing and doing they don't look fancy, but next thing you know, it's the end of the game and they're a point or two ahead of you. And let me tell you something. Now, I think the Lakers could beat them, but the Lakers got to watch themselves with that Denver team, because they just, it's like the tortoise and the hare. They're not moving fast, but for some reason you keep winning the race. You know, they're not a fancy team. You know, because if you watch Phoenix, you tell yourself, they should beat Denver. You know, they got Durant, they got Booker.
Listen, I don't want to hear the excuses from Phoenix about Chris Paul being hurt. I know Chris Paul's hurt. But even with that, your bench should not be getting outplayed as badly as you were outplayed by Denver.
That's what I'm saying.
This is the issue that you have to call out, because the issue that I was seeing throughout that entire series between Durant and Booker, yes, you were scoring. You were outscoring them when the games were going good and your shot was falling. But when your shot isn't always falling, defensively, you guys got exposed multiple times. And we all know that Jokic isn't a great defender. But y'all weren't exactly tearing it up defensively either. Like, the fact that Phoenix got exposed as badly as they did defensively is one of because it was happening in the Clippers series. And Kawhi and Paul George weren't playing. And they were getting exposed defensively. That Phoenix team, even when Chris Paul was healthy, was hot garbage. I'm sorry, you cannot be playing defense that poorly in the NBA playoffs. It's not feasible that you could be as just dysfunctional. Like, Phoenix was awful defensively. That's the reason why they lost that series to Denver. Because as relatively lackluster as that Denver roster is, if you make the game that easy for bench guys and random guys to score, yeah, you're probably going to lose, because as good as your top guys are, if it's that easy for the other team to score, yeah, you're probably going to lose more often than not.
Yeah. You know, because like I said, you watch that Denver roster, who jumps out at you? This is, okay, if you pick him, and you have a choice to pick the Phoenix roster or the Denver roster, which one do you think you're going to end up picking? On paper, you're going to pick the Phoenix roster, because it's supposed to be the better roster. Because when you get past Jokic and Jamal Murray, who else? You probably can't even remember half of the guys' names. You know? It's a bunch of nobody.
Listen, I know Bruce Brown and Aaron Gordon, and you get Tavius Caldwell-Pope, but that's because I follow sports every day. I'm an expert. The casual basketball fan cannot pick out the Denver Nuggets roster outside of Jokic. They can't. They
pick them.
You are not picking those guys. Period.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you're not running to pick them. So, you know, and like I said, I blame most of these sports agencies, because they have screwed up the MVP voting for years. They don't pick the most valuable player. They pick the most popular player. That's what they have done. All of them. Basketball, football, all of them. It's because the MVP is supposed to be this. If this guy wasn't here, where would this team be? That's it. You understand? And the thing about it is, they always want to give the thing to a first place team. Same thing with the NFL. Same thing with the NFL. If your team don't make the playoff, you don't get considered for MVP. Even if the team has a terrible roster and they have this one great player that's making them relevant. That's what MVP is, the most valuable player to the team. But what they are doing is picking the most valuable player to the league. The most popular player. That's what they're doing. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, the best thing about this this collapse is the fact that it called out all the voters. Because I want my personal opinion, and this may be deemed harsh, but truth be told, because they're like, oh, it's a regular season award. But guess what? Embiid was missing a ton of time in the regular season. I still, again, I understand the folks who don't want to give it to Jokic 3 times in a row because, like, Michael didn't get it. Fine. You don't get to give it. There were other guys more deserving than Jokic this year. That's my biggest issue with this entire process. You gave it to him as a sympathy award for all the years he didn't win it between Jokic and Giannis. And that is not your job as a voter. To me, the guys who voted Jokic first place deserve to have their voting privileges suspended for 2 years. Because, and I'm serious about that. Because the reason why is you saw it today. Because realistically, that roster didn't play horribly. He played horribly. He's your team, technically, from a valuation standpoint, if your team is playing horribly, you are technically not the most valuable player, because if he was playing horribly, the rest of the team should have been playing horribly. Because if your performance shouldn't be on the friggin' island. You were actually the biggest detriment to the team. Like, to me, like, if you understand what I'm saying, yes, they lost, but they lost because of you, directly because of you. Because literally, they were better off with you on the bench than you playing on the court. That's literally how the game was playing out. Because that first quarter, when he wasn't hogging the ball, was actually their best quarter.
Let me tell you something. It's been years I've been saying that all these MVP awards should not be a regular season award. I hate that they make MVP awards regular season awards, because you giving the MVP to a guy, and then when the playoff comes, the guy's a schmo. You know, I don't. That's supposed. Look, let me tell you something. You don't win nothing in the regular season. Okay? You don't win nothing there. Ask the Seattle Mariners or ask the Boston Bruins. You know, it's not the regular season, it's the playoffs. So I don't want to hear nothing with MVP before the playoffs. I hate it. I hate it. You know, it's like, oh my God, what's that closer again?
Armando Benitez.
No, I ain't talking about him. I'm talking about that one that made the Hall of Fame.
Trevor Hoffman.
Trevor Hoffman is a Hall of Famer. Tell me the big game that he didn't blow. Every big game he blew. Every one he blew. How the hell he could be a Hall of Famer?
Hey, he did great in the regular season, Pop.
Yeah, numbers.
He did great in the regular season.
Sure, that numbers game. Look, I'm telling you, you know, like I said, you cannot tell me You cannot tell me that I'm going to give out MVP awards and the playoffs is not playing yet. To me, MVP awards, all those awards supposed to be end of season award, not end of regular season, end of season. Okay? Yeah. Because the amount of people I know that could never show up in the playoffs, what the hell am I giving you an MVP for? Please.
So if I understand what you're saying, Callie, is what you're arguing is that Julius Randle should not have made NBA All-Pro third team. If that's what I'm hearing from you.
Look, I'm anxious to see what the Knicks are going to do this season. You know,
they don't have a lot of moves to make. They committed their money to R.J. Barrett, so there's not a ton of moves they can make.
Well, let me tell you, that is still going to go down as one of the worst decisions. No, not one. One of the two worst decisions. The first one was not to give up R.J. Barrett for Donovan Mitchell. And then the second one, let me tell you something. Leon Rose better win like 3 NBA titles because I still say that's a fireable offense. Not getting Donovan Mitchell is a fireable offense. You can tell me what you want, that they wanted this and they wanted that. You show me any of the things they wanted that the Knicks couldn't do without. On what those people did, you know, you have the people that just waited for RJ Barrett to have like 2 good games in the playoff and like, you see, it's a good thing we didn't give him away. And what happened after that? And what happened before that? Huh?
I mean, it's just...
I tell you, every time Brunson step on the court, and I see how good, and I never, because I don't want to be like, no, I always knew. No, I had no idea.
Nobody did. That's the thing. So many people in the NBA that I respect admitted the same thing I did, that I had no idea Brunson had this level to his game.
I thought they were overpaying him.
They did. I thought they did overpay him. I thought they did overpay, but I understood it. But to me, without doing the Mitchell trade, it was a pointless overpay. Now it's not a pointless overpay. It's not an overpay, but it's such a complete misunderstanding of where your team was, because the Knicks didn't know what they had in Brunson. Because the Knicks actually understood what they had in Brunson. Guess what? The Donovan Mitchell trade happens because the Knicks were so much closer to the NBA title with those two. The Knicks had no clue what they had on their hands. That is the most aggravating part about all this, is that the Knicks spent all this time planning for Brunson and can act as though they knew what the hell was going, but then still completely airmail the Donovan Mitchell trade talks.
I'm telling you. If the Knicks have Donovan Mitchell on this roster, right now they're in the Eastern Conference Final. Right now they're in the finals.
Yeah.
You know,
but that was my argument to folks, was the Knicks literally cost themselves a chance at the Eastern Conference Final, because I thought even without Donovan Mitchell, they should have been able to beat the Heat. But with Donovan Mitchell, they absolutely beat the Heat. But that's the thing that annoys me the most about all this, is literally how this got completely borked by management. I can't get over that one.
I still don't understand how people have their jobs. Because even if I didn't fire them before, when I see how this season went and how good Bronson is no, I'm firing everybody. No, I'm firing everybody. You know, because if they get that shit straightened out in Milwaukee, I still may be going uphill. You know, I still may be going uphill. So you on a year where things broke right for me, and I might have been in the NBA final. You screwed me up. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so aggravating.
Yeah, I know. It burns me to no end every time I saw the Knicks play, and I'm like, Jesus, could you imagine adding Donovan Mitchell to that? And all the Barrett supporters were like, you know, he looks like he's regressing. You didn't see that last year? You know, what it is, I still would like to know what it is that R.J. Barrett showed that they figured, no, we're not giving him up. You know, and I kind of think it came from the owner, because I don't understand if the owner didn't give that order, how he doesn't fire them for you. This is a guy who tells the team that he's with, I want to go to New York. Nobody else was in the team, because everybody knew that Donovan Mitchell wanted to go to New York. So most teams didn't want to waste their time trying to woo him, because the talk was out, he wanted to go to New York. He's from New York, I want to go home. Okay, the Knicks had the assets to get him. So that's why it wasn't a bidding war or anything. The Knicks was in a poker game, and all the hands was Knicks' hands. They lost the game. They own all the hands in the game, and they still lost the game. So that's why I said it had
James
to be
Dolan's the most dangerous poker player there is, Callie. That's all there is. The man can lose solitary poker.
But the problem is
like,
that
only person at the table that loses against himself.
But my thing is that it had to be the owner, because if Leon Rose alone was making those decisions, and that blow up in his face like it did, where you see how Barrett is playing, and you see how Donovan Mitchell is playing, and how good Bronson was, he's getting fired immediately. I bring you, and that's your first big decision, and that's what came out of it. So it has to be the owner. Maybe the owner tell him, no, I think Barrett's going to be good. I don't want you to trade him. That's the only way that they can make that decision, and it don't cost them their jobs. You know? And then has the gall to say, well, the Mitchell people never got back to us, because they think you're stupid. You're sitting there all you're alone in the game, and you still can't come to you let Cleveland come in there and say, okay, I'll give you this, I'll give you that, I'll give you this. Hey, we'll take it. I can't deal with these stupid people. You know. And I'm sure Donovan Mitchell would rather be on that Knicks team, because that Cleveland team is not that good.
No. It's not even close. There's no chance.
Yeah.
There's
not that good.
There's no chance.
You know.
That the Donovan Mitchell.
I'm thinking in a couple if that shit stays like that next year, I'm sure at the end of next year, Donovan Mitchell is saying, I want out of here. Because let me tell you something. There's no reason to be in Cleveland if the team is not good. I mean, Cleveland is not that nice a place. You know?
No disrespect to the fine people of Cleveland, but let's be honest.
Like Donald Trump says, there's good people on both sides, but I don't want to be there. You know? Please. I still, you know, every time they talk about that, I just shake my head and still don't understand how that happens. You know, it's the only, I think it's the same Carmelo thing all over again. Dolan stayed in the background because nobody can call his name and say, well, the owner wanted him. He never wants that. He does these things and his name don't get called. But you can't tell me that a manager can make that much of a blunder and doesn't get fired, or at least get reprimanded or something, you know, unless it's what the owner wanted. Yeah, so we'll see. You know, but you know, maybe they get Giannis to leave Milwaukee.
Oh yeah. We're back to hoping for Giannis again. Yep.
Yeah. It's the LeBron thing all over again. Yeah. Or maybe you get Kawhi.
Oh yeah. Kawhi will take the meeting with the Knicks this time.
Yeah, the arthritic knee. You know. At the rate they're going, they may have to fold that team in that second team in LA. You know, because between them and the Rams, I don't know who have more fans.
Hey, the Clippers fans are stronger than ever. They're just sad by not having Kawhi available at all.
The only thing I envy the Clippers is I wish their owner had bought the Knicks instead of us having Dolan.
Most NBA fan bases would rather have Steve Ballmer than their own owner. Most NBA teams would rather have Steve Ballmer than their own owner.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
Because he's a nice guy, and I don't think he deserves the Clippers. Because I don't think that team is going to be good. I mean, that team, first to begin, that team has an inferiority complex. Even when they have better players than the Lakers.
Listen, I'll just be blunt. Stephen A. Smith got into hot water by throwing out the suggestion that the Clippers should force Kawhi Leonard to retire. Fine. You could say that Stephen A. was disrespectful by trying to dictate that a player's time has come to retire. What I'm not going to argue is that Kawhi Leonard owes the Clippers a ton of back money. And don't act like it's like, yo, he didn't mean to get injured. Listen, he's been doing this load management thing for the better part of 4 years. And he's been hurt every single time. And at a certain point, you have to ask the question, is he doing the physio the proper way, or is he doing what he wants to do? And that was the issue that the Spurs took a lot of flack for, but were calling out Kawhi and his people that he wasn't doing the things that he was supposed to be doing the proper way. And Kawhi and his folks were blaming the Spurs for the reason why he kept getting hurt.
But here's my problem. If you're doing load management and you're supposed to be this health nut and you don't do this and you don't do that and you can never finish a season, so then what's the point? You know, you may as well just play all the time. And if you get hurt, you get hurt. But you keep doing the load management, and Kawhi Leonard is the biggest tease that you could ever, because he came out in that game against the Suns, and he killed the Suns. He was guarding Durant, and then he was scoring when he wants, and we never saw him again after that. We never saw him again after that. That was it.
Yeah.
Hey, the Suns are in trouble because Kawhi just dominated them. Hey, the Clippers could win this series. And he never appeared again.
Again, this is part of the reason why Stephen A. got so annoyed and called for his retirement. Because, again, it's not as though this was the first time this has happened.
No. He does shit like that all the time. You know, he does. Look, here's what I can take about Kawhi. Is that Kawhi's on my team. And we play. And the next day, I gotta be holding the prayer beads and taking in my hands. Is he okay? Is it gonna happen? Is he gonna come? Is he all right? Did he hurt his feet? How much of this shit you could stand? You know? You think if Kawhi Leonard says, I'm gonna sign with the Knicks, I'm gonna be jumping up? For what? Are you sure he's going to play a whole season? When is the last time Kawhi Leonard played a whole season?
You have to go back to when he was playing with the Spurs. You got to go back to when he played with the Spurs.
Because even the year in Toronto, he didn't play the whole season because he missed a ton of games with the load management thing. Yes. Did they win the title? Yes, they did come and win the title. Okay? Now, how the hell you could tell me you went from winning that title and people saying, hey, he may be the best player in basketball. What happened after that? Huh? You check Kawhi's seasons after that. Since he, how many seasons? 3 seasons?
It's 4.
4?
4.
And
remember, it's 2019. He had that run. He had that run in Toronto in 2019. We had the bubble year 20, 21, 22, 23. It's 4.
Let's count out the bubble year.
Oh, you're going to give him a pass on the... Okay, fine. 3 years.
You know why I give him a pass? Because I always say in the bubble year, all who didn't want to play, I respect them.
All right.
And all who played, I respect them. So I'll give him the bubble year. But what has happened since? It's like, maybe we're still in COVID. Because I haven't seen Kawhi Leonard. He hasn't finished the season. He's either not there at the beginning, he might be there in the middle, or he starts, he's not there in the middle, and he's kind of there, kind of not there at the end. You can't have that shit. You know, when is the last time Kawhi played a full season and actually, you know, had his team, you know, people saying, hey, this team could win it all. This team is dangerous. It's crazy. You can't go. There's no way you could go from being that high up. I mean, like I said, people was calling him maybe the best player in basketball. And that's what a much younger LeBron than LeBron is now. You know, and that's the kind of ratings he was getting when when he won that title in thing. Even though he missed a lot of games that year too. But at least they got the title, so it made up for that. But now he's carrying it to the extreme. He's carrying it to the extreme. I don't know how much longer you're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't disagree with Steve May. Maybe it's time for him to really retire because he don't want to play basketball. You know? Because, hey, I'm gonna have to start saying, did he get an examination by the team's doctor to determine if this is really an injury or if he's just saying it's an injury? Because remember, that was the problem with him at the Spurs. The Spurs were saying he's good to go, and he is saying no.
Yeah.
But he was saying that, you know, they don't care about me and they just want to think. But like you say, you got to go back now and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe the Spurs had a point.
Listen, I have to take the L on the Kawhi thing because I said from a two-way standpoint, Kawhi, you would build your team around Kawhi versus LeBron. And Kawhi essentially went out of his way to screw over every one of these teams that went out there. And it just happened to be that the Clippers fell on this landmine that is Kawhi. Because this whole debacle, and I do call it a debacle at this point, this whole debacle is tied to the fact that Kawhi only wants to do what Kawhi wants to do when he feels like doing it. That's it. That's what this is.
The team that came out pretty good in this was the Raptors. They got a title out of it. Now they gave up people, but I mean they gave up Kyle Lowry and
yeah, they gave up DeMar DeRozan. They gave up. Well, it was yeah. There were a couple of role, but again, like Lowry, you know. Well, actually, no. Lowry did get the title because of Kawhi, but it's like he was still on the team. But like there were a couple other role players on that squad that did get shuffled out because of. But again, at the end of the day, you'd take that all day long if you're the Raptors.
I'm telling you, because remember, they got the title, and they didn't have to pay. They only had to put up with Kawhi for 1 year. So they actually came out smelling like roses. They gave up a few players, they got a title, and they didn't have the headache. You know, the Raptors actually got to drink and didn't get the hangover. The Raptors was able to get drunk and not get the hangover. The Clippers got the hangover. Yeah? The hangover that is Kawhi is what they got. Yeah. Let's see what.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll catch up because I mean we've got an entire day tomorrow dedicated to ripping on the Sixers and Embiid because that press conference. I don't care what anybody says. That press conference. Woo. That's gonna rub a lot of people the wrong way. It has to because if you're one of the people who supported Embiid getting the MVP, you got stuff to answer for now, and it is what it is. Like there is no way you can have Embiid saying that in the press conference. And you still being okay with voting Embiid the MVP. I'm sorry. There's no way. Absolutely no way after that no-show.
All right. So we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, Kelly. Yeah, we'll be in touch. You have a good one.
Right. Okay.
All right, folks. That's going to do it. I mean, I've trashed the Sixers enough for one evening. And so did my dad. But the trust the process, folks, you brought this on yourselves. You really did. Because for years we keep hearing about how this was the right way to go about putting together your culture and mentality. You've enabled this man who flops all the time, needs the refs to bail him out with the free throw line. His game does not translate to postseason play. The issues that I raised with Randall still apply to Joel Embiid. It's even more egregious to Joel Embiid because he's far more athletically gifted than Julius Randle could ever hope to be. And yet, he still opts for a cheap way out. But somehow, we had to give him the MVP. There are so many more deserving candidates. I'm not going to let that one go. Because there are a lot of people who need to actually answer for this. I'm serious when I'm talking about those MVP voters. About their credentials needing to be revoked for 2 years. I'm serious about it. Because there's no way we could be watching the NBA for an entire season and us having completely different thought processes on what is valuable and what's not, and then play out exactly where I point out exactly why he can't elevate players. And you guys actually try to say, oh, but it's the regular season. We have to treat it as strictly based off of regular season performance. As if you couldn't see this potentially happening. Yeah. It's just so genuinely aggravating. Because you honestly try to believe that there's no way he could be have that lack of self-awareness. But this is who he is. This is who Joel Embiid is. He's a quitter. As much as we can rag on James Harden, we already know James Harden's a quitter. We just didn't know the full extent to it that it would apply to Joel Embiid. And now we do. Good luck, Philly. That's all I can say to you. Good luck, because you're going to need it. Because guess what? It only gets worse from here because he's got the MVP award, and now every time it's going to be something else that's the reason why you guys can't win. As he gets older. And deals with the foot issues as he gets older, by the way. Good luck. That's going to do it for tonight. Have a good one, folks. Until next time, we'll get into the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals. But I don't even want to talk about the rest of the playoff matchups that are unfolding between the Lakers and Denver right now and what we're going to get between Heat Celtics. I can't, because the Sixers' performance was so atrocious today. And it's like he literally threw his teammates under the bus when the teammates weren't the issue. It was Embiid and Harden. Like, I can't get over that. I can't get over he actually tried to throw his own teammates under the bus after he and Harden sabotaged them. I can't get over that one. It just will not sit right with me. Anyway, like I said, I'm out for now. We'll be back soon enough. Catch you around.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Throwdown podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and all major outlets.
At Kroger, we know the minute a tomato is picked, the fresh timer starts. The sooner we get our produce to you, the fresher it is. That's why we've shortened the time from harvest to home for our tasty tomatoes, strawberries, and salads. So no matter how you shop, you have more time with your fresh produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/post. That's ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter.com/post.